Well, it's Friday, and it's going to be another smoker.
Yep.
So we're trying to get this done early so we can get this done, because some people say that they enjoy these Friday videos, so we try to make a point of making them. But we're having to do it early today. I wish it'd been even earlier. Wow, I somehow made my glasses substantially dirtier. I don't know how I did that.
I don't know.
Ridiculous. Well, you know what? Time is of the essence. We're going to keep pushing. We're just going to keep pushing, and if I can't see anything, I'll fake it.
Well, there's not much to see. You're just looking at the...
It's true.
Well, you're looking at the distance like you always do, but, you know, it's not like you're driving.
Sorry, I just remembered because I'm looking out there while you're talking, and I saw the rocks on the berm in the middle of the road. Some teenager must have been like on their phone and wasn't paying attention, because this is like, it's a road and it splits, and there's like an island in the middle of it, and studding the island are big rocks, like dachshund-sized rocks, bigger than that.
They're bigger than that.
And someone must have been looking at their phone or been distracted or something. We're sitting here just like people, and I saw the tracks. They started going wrong way down the opposite side of the road, and then wrenched their wheel as hard as possible and crossed over not one but two rocks.
One of what we heard, like a thunka, 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 thunka,
Bunga, 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 hollow metal noise.
we closed the door. We're like, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it was late. It was later at night.
And then I took El Perro for a walk
in the morning,
and I saw the rocks all, one giant rock got broken in a few pieces.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Anyway, when he woke up,
Look at this rock.
I was like, hey. And then, like, the next day, we saw guys from the city parked in front of our house and looking at the berm.
Yeah, these workmen slowly walking around looking at the rocks. I'm not going to pause the video again and put my rock back.
That's totally fine.
I'll do it after the video.
Okay. You can admire it.
I am
As long as your
admiring it.
glasses can let you see that far.
No, I can see it. I can see it. It's pretty okay rock. I mean, as rocks go. Sedimentary. It has trace. Not fossils, but when you have trace pieces and when a creature is there, I don't know, there's some darker organic bits in there. I don't know. The nice thing is the rock got clipped open. I can't even imagine what the underneath of their minivan looked like.
It was a minivan? Oh.
All gone now.
Yeah.
All gone now. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's do wrist check. Well, what are you wearing?
A panda.
Yep, she's wearing her panda. I owned this watch for about 20 minutes before Sabrina said that she'd like it, and that's fine. I tend to not wear these. I love the way they look, but she always liked it, and that's pretty cool. Little bit of bronzing to the dial, and we better stop. And I am wearing, I can do that falling over. I've been wearing my Speedmaster a lot. I've just been really pleased with the simplicity of it, and there's just certain things about it I really like. I love the height of the hand stack. I just, I have a lot of affection for this watch. It's so sort of perfectly clean and clear. And I've been enjoying wearing it, especially in the hot weather. And we're back. I hope that was enlightening. Whatever we come up with.
Okay, so Boy Devins 4180 really enjoyed the talk. There's so much to learn about watches. Spoiler alert, there's to be a second film, Deadpool Wolverine 2. Till you're 90.
Till you're 90.
We went to go see it like immediately after the video. We were like, oh, come on. We spent all this time watching the cartoons and all the movies. And I mean, we watched all the 90s cartoons, which they were awesome. And it's like, why aren't we just going to go see it?
Yeah, and so we just did. It didn't occur to me that we could just, often, simple conclusions like, you can just go see the movie. And so we were like, oh. So that was her idea, and we're like, okay. And so we went 4 o'clock. We went right there and sat down in the movie theater and saw it, and it was pretty good. Is there really going to be a Deadpool and Wolverine 2 already? Have they already announced that?
I don't know. Hugh Jackman's your age. I don't know why he'd want to keep doing that.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, the character can't age. I mean, he can only age. He's aging sort of into perfection. But,
yeah.
But he's. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to keep playing that thing. But
well, I know one of the reasons why Brent Spiner and TNG didn't want to do it anymore after Nemesis was because he was getting too old and Data wasn't supposed to age. But that is not relevant anymore because of the de-aging. stuff. Like, we were watching the last Indiana Jones movie, and when they went to a flashback, they did an amazing job making Harrison Ford look like he did in the original Indiana Jones, to the point that I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts, actually, that they made him look that good. I mean, that whole movie was filmed really dark. I don't know why. Maybe it was to kind of hide that. That first section especially was really, really dark. But the de-aging process, I mean, it's coming along by leaps and bounds. And the time is going to come that you're not going to have to worry about the actual physical appearance of the actor anymore. They'll be able to continue doing it if they can continue doing it. I don't know. We're heading into uncharted territory. Everything is drones. Everything is AI. Everything is robots.
It's going to be like Star Trek, not Terminator.
But not Star Wars.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind having little droids running around. That'd be cute.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody's telekinetic.
Well, no.
Oh, God, you were talking about the 90s.
Of course I was.
I'm not an X-Men person, okay? So I didn't grow up being an X-Men person. I wasn't into comic books or any of that kind of thing. But she was really into it because she grew up with that stuff. And so she wanted to watch the original 90s X-Men cartoon, which was, and it took me, I had to realize that the cartoon was literally based on a comic book, like stylistically, down to the print on the page. It looks like a comic book. It also looks incredibly crude. It's some of the hardest TV watching I've ever lived through.
Yeah, well, in the beginning, but then you got really into it.
Well, yeah, but it really took time, and sometimes the plot twists were just ridiculous, and the art is just strange. So if you really want to challenge yourself to do something new, try to watch that 90s X-Men cartoon.
It gets better, I swear.
It explains a lot about the X-Men verse. I learned a lot. I'm super glad I watched it. I was able to appreciate, some of the cameo appearances. I almost just spoiled. There we go.
True Blue Miata. Hi, to answer the question of how to easily distinguish Sua and Daini, you must mention their logos, lightning bolts for Daini and the cyclone for Sua. The history of Sua and Daini go back to World War II, when the Hattori family feared for their Tokyo plant and so expanded to Nagano. I probably pronounced that wrong. There's more to be found on this topic in Beyond the Dial's excellent review, which can be found online. Glad to contribute in a small way. That's very interesting, and I'd like to read that.
Yeah, it's good to know. I would have sworn I thought about mentioning the logo.
I don't remember.
They do have different logos. Daini has a twin lightning bolt. They're sideways. It is pointing clockwise if you count the blades and how they work. The cyclone is the same thing. It's actually two of the two great waves put together like so. And
well, I'm curious about them being like, oh no, our plant's gonna get nuked. So I want to find that and read it.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. There's so much about Seiko that I don't know. I rely on what's in my memory. And
yelling at them.
and yelling at and about them.
Yes.
But
well, maybe you should learn more of the history. Does anybody? I'm a history nerd, and I would be interested in learning more. So if there's something beyond Wikipedia and that somebody has to recommend, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, there's just not a lot I know, and it never occurs to me to look for books, and so there are gaps in my knowledge I never consider filling.
Mike D2662. Hey, you two, long time no comment. I recently landed a job teaching English in Japan. I'll keep an eye out for cool Seiko stuff. That's neat. I wonder what the thrift stores are like there.
I don't know. I've read about old watch shops and what they can be like. I'd be out of my mind if I was there. I'd be out of my mind because there'd be so many beautiful handmade objects. I mean, the last time I was in a Japanese antiquarium shop was when we were in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. That weird little furniture things, mm-hmm. and I was beside myself. I'd want to buy everything.
And the woodworking. Yeah, he was like, "Oh my God, I want everything."
Yeah, beautiful travel chests, all handmade and all I just love that stuff. I love it like crazy. So, congratulations! It's gonna be really exciting to keep us updated. I'd want to know what in the world it is you're finding out there, because you're gonna you're going to find cool stuff, man.
Yeah, and if you find something neat, just email it rather than, you
Yeah.
know, it might be difficult doing it in a comment, and you
Yeah.
can send pictures.
Yeah, send us some pictures. KVW, KleinVintageWatchRepair.com. And I'd love to see some of the stuff you find over there.
That'd be cool. Watching Brief 7072. Spencer, thanks so much for highlighting your amazing your collection of junior Pogues. That green dial is amazing. Have never seen for sale. Do you happen to have the gold dial variant?
I've owned the gold dial twice. Once at the old house, once here, but...
They are like the old house.
The old house. Once when we were at the old house, which is... How long ago would the old house be now?
Oh my god. Sadie, we moved out of there and Sadie was 4.
And she was born in 2007, so that would have been like 2010, 2011, something like that. I owned one, and then I owned a second one. I hunted one down, but it wasn't quite as nice. The first one I had was beautiful. It was in exquisite condition, and it was on the correct Stellux snakeskin bracelet. That's the killer, man. That's the one. If you can find that particular setup, because that Stellux snakeskin or fish scale, whatever you want to call it. It's like a little diamond pattern. It's not like a coffin link at all. It's maybe I think I call it fish scale. I don't remember, depending on what the hell I'm doing. But it's a really, really nice setup. I'm getting laughed at here.
Because you call things the most random stuff.
It's what pops into mind.
I know, but things change all the time.
Well, I mean, how often do I talk about that particular bracelet?
I can only remember one other time.
Yeah, I mean, they're not easy to find. They're rare. It kills me. I actually, at a certain point, I had a number of them, and I just didn't think much about them. And they slowly get used for this thing or that thing, and they go away, and then you don't have them anymore. They used them on Bellmatics. They used them on those little Pogue 70-meter divers. They were on really early 6119s, like ones from 1968. It's a really, really, really nice bracelet.
Moro Gomez 4223. Hi Spencer and Sabrina. I have a problem with Seiko 7548 movement with a fresh battery, runs for a while and stops with the second hand shaking trying to move. The problem seems to be recurrent with 3 of them I have in the past. Even now it's happening with a recently serviced one. It's a common failure. What should I check? Thanks and have a great summer.
Well, when that's happening, these quartz movements, they drive through that seconds hand, the one that's shivering. So the mechanical watches and quartz watches, they run backwards from each other. Quartz watches, you want to have the least torque imaginable, so you're going with just that sweep seconds hand. So the movement is eating up enough power that even that sweep seconds hand can't move. They need to be serviced. That's just the way it is. The one that was recently serviced, it needs to be serviced. It's still sticking for a reason, and that, there's something inside. There's old grease. There's dirty grease. There isn't sufficient lubrication. But even if they're perfectly clean without lubrication, they'll run beautifully. You don't want to do that, but they will run beautifully. So, and to have that.
How?
Because they're beautifully made.
I know, but don't you need lubrication for machines?
Yeah, long term, sure, absolutely.
Okay.
But in the short term, it'll be perfectly fine.
What about on an automatic watch? Would that be really bad?
Yeah, no, automatic watches, they're because a quartz watch, it has what's called the train, the gear train, all the gears as they go together. It's unstressed, so you have that seconds hand goes click, and it has the next gear, and it turns that a little bit, the next gear turns the next one, that turns that a little bit, but then they just sit there. They're not under constant pressure. Whereas a mechanical watch, you have a mainspring, and it's constantly applying pressure to the entire train. It's constantly pushing it. And so those, you gotta have your lubrication in there, because the jewels and everything and the pinions are always they're always under pressure.
So would it never work if you didn't put in lubrication? Would it just not even start?
What, a 7548?
No, an automatic.
No, I could. Oh, yeah, I'm sure you could get one to run. It just would run. You wouldn't be that accurate. It wouldn't run particularly well, and it would wear pretty quickly.
Okay, I was just curious. I know that everybody likes to hear about watch lubrication.
I mean, the truth of the matter is that, you know, you're supposed to get service every 5 years, but there are people, they run their watches and run them and run them and run them. I mean, I don't have even a way to count the number of people who've written me and said, I've been wearing my watch the last 20 years. You know, it's just the way it is. They're beautifully designed machines, and they're designed to do a lot of running for a long time.
Did you ever answer the question?
What was the question?
About the shaky hand.
Well, yes, I did actually.
Okay.
That just, all that means is that they need to be serviced. And if the one that was serviced needs to be serviced.
He asked if it's a common failure.
In unserviced 754Xs, yes, absolutely. That's what you see. It's my first thing. If somebody writes and they're like, "Hey, I think this watch is dead. Tell me, you know, I put a new battery in it. It's not doing anything." And I say, "Look really closely at that sweep seconds hand. Do you see it doing anything? Is it even trying to shiver? Do you see any kind of life in it?" And they say, "Yes, I can see that." And they're like, "Congratulations, your coil is good. That means your circuit is good." And you know you need a physical servicing, and then you can go from there.
Aaron Hawkman, or Hawkman. Hi Spencer and Sabrina. Speaking of 7548s, I noticed that my 7548 from 1980 has a bezel insert that is not beveled, i.e. sloped from the outer edge towards the crystal, which is the case for most 7548s. I am pretty sure my watch is all original. Nothing looks like it's been messed with or changed and in good condition. The bezel insert looks closer to those on the 7549 tunas, i.e. flat from outer edge to inner edge. Do you have any insights as to why my bezel insert may be different from the standard bevel one? P.S. It looks like yours in the video is also flat. Mine is a Japan J case.
The way that those work is it's just a flat insert, okay? It's just a flat aluminum insert. But when you snap those inserts into the ring that they go in, because of the construction of the sort of lip of the ring that insert fits into, it's ever so slightly smaller than the outer diameter of that flat insert. So the flat insert has extra push going on, which means it's either going to snap up or it's going to snap down. And that's done by design. Because then if the insert is down, your insert is actually between the outer edge. If you can imagine, here's your rotating ring. You're looking at it sideways, okay? So here's your knurling on your rotating ring. You're going to turn it. And there's your insert. It's going to pop in like so. And that means that, and your crystal is it's up here a little bit. It creates this little triangular area of relief. And then you have your insert is down a little bit like this, and it protects your insert from getting scratched. It's a piece of genius design, and because also you don't need any glue or anything to hold those inserts in whatsoever. You snap them in correctly, and they're held. They're perfectly fine. It's not like an aftermarket insert, or even the ones that Seiko uses now. They use like little pieces of like adhesive. They glue them in place basically, rather than having really, really tight, excellent tolerances, which is what they had before. You know, they used to make professional dive watches.
They don't anymore?
Well, they do, but I mean, they've identified other places where they can cut corners, and this is what we get.
I wonder what kind of diver watch divers actually use now.
They use dive computers. So it's like a Pit Boy, but it's a Fallout thing. So Fallout's a video game
and a
series.
TV show now.
And a TV show series, in case. But yeah, so that's the reason why. You can adjust that tilt up and down, by the way. Not a whole lot, but with a crystal press, I can get them to bend down or up a little bit. Like sometimes if the insert has been messed with a lot and I need to flatten it out, I can fiddle with it. I can get it to do that. Okay. I figured I might as well do an illustration of what I'm talking about. It's hard to see, but you can see the angle, how the insert slopes inwards and downwards. Now you might not be able to see it. Maybe you can see it over here. is the edge of the crystal is slightly higher than the inside lip of that insert, and since the whole thing slopes up, that means any hit is going to have a good chance of bridging this and leaving the insert alone. Doesn't always happen. This is a genuine 6309 ring and insert, and as you can see, it got hit a lot, but I'm sure it got preserved a lot better, because there was in the 90s there was a diver that was sold and it had a curved topped insert. I don't remember the thing right off the top. It was the other Storm and Norman. I may have that information wrong. It was one that was bought and sold at the PX a lot, and somebody important wore it. It'll come to me. Anyway, but the inserts are almost always like shot. But you can see here's the insert. Here's another old 6309 insert. And you can see it's just thin aluminum. And it's pretty flat. It's not curved or anything else like that. Put these in like this because of how tight the tolerances are. I mean, it starts to bind up right away. I use a special tool here to kind of turn and twist the edges in. And the fact that the diameter is just ever so slightly much larger is enough to force that down. Somebody's probably going to ask me, hey, what's that tool? This usual thing for me is I adapted another tool for this job. This is for removing optics from binoculars. Come on, in we go. There we go. This one I'm going to have to straighten it out because the downward slope is probably a little too much. Finish. Yeah, so I'll have to flatten this one out a little bit. But that gives you an idea of how it's done and how beautifully engineered these are. You all want to see Sabrina's favorite prehistoric creature? The Synapsid Dimetrodon.
I am making one.
She's making a life-size Dimetrodon. This one looks like he just he told a joke and he's waiting for the reaction. Okay.
Sidewalk Astronomy Netherlands. Lorus was first launched in Europe.
Oh, let me go back. Lorus, he's talking about the Seiko sub-brand Lorus. We recently discovered, all of us together, thanks to one particular viewer, that there's a new line of Lorus, like little sport watches that use Pogue colorations and case styles. So that's what he's talking about.
Okay. Lorus was first launched in Europe in 1982 to complement the already popular Seiko brands. Lorus was an instant success, offering not only affordable products, but products with high design and technology qualities, taking advantage of the huge commitments to technology advancement made by the Seiko Watch Corporation. Lorus now offers a wide variety of watches in its product collection, alongside all the standard functions such as solar digital duo display and alarm chronographs. Check them out if you haven't already done so. Blah, blah, blah. So Lorus is owned by Seiko. The launch was a success, and in just 30 years, over 120 million Lorus watches were sold worldwide, complementing other brands of the company like Pulsar.
That's crazy. 120 million Lorus watches. How many Seikos have been made?
Oh.
I really want to know the answer. I should buy one of those Loruses.
Okay.
I should buy one of those inexpensive Loruses. I can't imagine they're very expensive. It's an automatic mechanical. Get one and see how the numbers are. Slap it on the time grapher and see what we can see. Mm-hmm. I think that's I should have thought of that before.
D-Mits 22. So many more.
Oh, these are more brands that Seiko owns?
Alba, Apatime, Pulsar, Soma Wired, Actis, Advantage. There's no commas. I don't know where one starts and one ends.
Well, some of these are sub-brands, so I don't know that I'm going to count that. I mean, sure, okay, but like Grand Quartz, that's a brand that was on the title, but some of the stuff like Presage or Prospects, that's all under Seiko. If you ask me, like Silver Wave. I mean, there's brands and then there's sub brands. How in the world, like Pulsar, sure, Alba, absolutely, Lorus, absolutely, I guess, Grand Seiko, and then all this other stuff. I'm not sure. It's many names.
Many names with no commas. Saved from the garbage 7548.
Oh, so this is the 7548 that, okay, that got you.
Rob Alexander 7348. A lovely watch, Spencer. I do like the black dial with the gray slate bezel, and that bracelet is so nice. It looks quality. Well done.
It is a great bracelet, and it absolutely was quality, and I'm still amazed at how perfectly those two things went together, and what a nice professional setup that whole thing was. I mean, it just oozed character. It really, really oozed character, and that's just. It just shows the quality that when you have good amount of wear, is that the actual quality of the watch, the appearance of it improves. It doesn't go down, it goes up.
Nick Halverson 5330. I'd like to use one of these as a daily, but it would need loom good enough to be able to read in the middle of the night. I've heard you say you value the same. How do you recommend relooming these vintage divers so that you can read them at night, but keeping the character of the original, like avoiding blobby greenish loom?
Well, you can full on reloom them, which I don't reloom the dials. I've never had much luck doing flat relooming on relooming dials. I've never had good luck doing it. It always looks kind of weird. There's something in my process that isn't suited for it. I don't get the right flow, and so I just don't do it. The hands I can definitely reloom, and then they glow, like crazy. I can reloom the pip and the three hands, and it looks good in daylight and it glows very well at night. But if the loom's in good, clean, white original condition, what I would do personally is I would underloom them, and with a black dial, that's not going to do, like, when I do underlooming on, like, a dress watch, like a silver dress watch, because typically I'm doing that to, like, a JDM dress watch with silver hands and a silver dial that was never loomed, and you don't want to have loom on there, so you underloom it, but the silver dial, it bounces off. The black kind of absorbs that, but they've got those huge, all that real estate is devoted to all the loom that is in those windows. A good underloom, and it doesn't have to be a thick layer. It just has to be a consistent layer. And you charge the heck out of it, and you will be able to read it at night. You're not going to be able to read a magazine by it, but you should be able to see it all night long, because the original Seiko loom that's in those hands is actually really thin. It's like tissue paper thin. It's amazing actually how thin it is, and the fact that it holds up physically, but it does. So I would underloom it. That's what I would do.
Bruce Barlow 6604. If you do get around to showing the center jeweling on the 7548 plate, that would be cool. Another request that many others and myself would like to see would be the 6105 Lober Arbor jeweling, but if you get this wrong, you will screw up the plate.
Well, that's always true, right? If you get it wrong, you're going to screw the thing up. I've shown doing the lower mainspring arbor before, but it's been a really long time. But the video is still up. It should still be up, so you should be able to see that.
You have so many videos.
I have a lot of videos, but the search function works.
Okay.
It does work. I'll try it after this video. Doing the center wheel jewel is going to be the same thing. Basically, the biggest tricks is that you can't just jump to that size reamer right away. You have to actually work your way up, because the port is too small to start with, and you need to take out too much material. It's just one of those things you just have to be so very careful, and there's some tricks to it, like when you're done, there can't be any burrs or any extra metal at all, because those will bind up with the jewel, and if you try and seat the jewel and you don't have it completely smooth and firm and down and cleaned out like that, you can crack the jewel. It's nitpicking, painstaking work to get done right, and frankly, sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking. But I'll think about it. How about that? I'll think about it. Let's see if I can come up with an inspiration.
AMBell4191. Great job unless you can DIY fix a watch or have the budget to spend more fixing it than what it's worth, or if it has sentimental value. Unfortunately, they are disposable watches, and I have plenty of Seikos that I am not sure I will ever fix. Same with my Citizens.
Yeah, it's a sad truth. I mean, not everybody's going to want to be able to invest the money into a restoration and to get things going. I mean, I would hope, though, that doesn't mean that they're going to get, necessarily, thrown away. If you've got a bunch of Seiko watches and they're sitting around and you don't want them, let you feel free to let me know, and maybe we can work something out. All watches always have a home here, and so yeah. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Now, are they actually dead, or are you just not wearing them?
Overdue review, Redune, what?
You should, if you feel like it, send me an email to kvw@kleinvintagewatchrepair.com. Sorry.
The overdue review, Redune 6105 Homage. Monad Mercedes 8246. San Martin Homages made one of the same case styles as the MM300, but this particular one, the thin 6215, only downside is the loom and ceramic bezel. I don't recall any company did the same thing. Too bad it's from San Martin.
I read this comment and I wasn't 100% sure on what you meant.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Like, they're talking about, well, San Martin is one of the watches that's underneath the WR watches kind of umbrella of these homage watches. And that one, San Martin, they did do copies of the Marine Master 300, the 8L350010, I believe it is. And I think he's saying that they also did a version of the 6215 case. Is that what you're saying? Because if they made a version of the 6215 case, I would really like to know about that. Because the 6215 case is much lower. It has a much lower height than the 8L35 case. And there's potentially some stuff I could do with it in terms of modding that I would be pretty curious about trying. So if you could let me know about that, I'd be very curious to know more about that, please.
Okay, now we're going to Greenbean.
Okay, people, this is it. This is Greenbean. So if you want to hear about things that are watch related, you're not going to hear anything. It's all Greenbean. And we're Greenbeaning.
Saul Brook.
Hey, Saul.
The truth is finally revealed. Spencer got the wheels to get the babes.
Everything is about getting the babes. That's the entirety of civilization. Everything that we do is all about getting the babes. That's what it's for. I wasn't trying to get babes. I was, who knows what they thought.
That you look like some dad and you were in your car.
Well, no, I was underneath my car bleeding from 2 brand new wounds I'd just given myself that I didn't even know about yet. Because I'd rammed my head into the brand new cotter pin on the brand new hood prop, which I had just put in, and
yeah, he walks in, he's just bleeding.
I'm just bleeding. I'm bleeding like all over the place. I didn't even notice, but I appreciated the sentiment. It's probably what I needed to hear at the time. And we're back.
Audi guy. Having grown up restoring and driving an old Porsche back in the day, I'd recommend putting a small tool bag together for the car with common wrenches, tape wire, and some gloves to keep your hands clean from all the things that will come up along the way.
Yeah, I yesterday when I was getting ready for the test, I grabbed one of those bags that you put your chop saw in when you carry around. It's like a tool bag. And I was busy shoveling tools into it, hoping that I wouldn't need any of them. And thankfully I didn't. Yeah, but when I used to ride Vespas all the time, I brought everything with me that I needed to do. I used to remember I would boast that with my toolkit in the glove box of my Vespa, I could do anything up to and including removing the engine if I needed to. I could do it all. And I'm probably going to try to come up with the same kind of situation here, not where I can do everything, but if I have a car that's, every time I get to the end of a drive, I'm like, wow, can't believe it made it to the end of the drive. I'm going to need to absolutely have some. I'm going to need to have some more, some tool backup going on here.
Nicholas Miller 7565, nicely done, sir. It's been
Thank you.
fascinating watching your progress, as I had to ditch a GT restoration some years ago due to a change in circumstances, so it's been great to see you succeed where I failed. I hope you will continue to show progress with Greenbean, and I wish you all many years of happy and stylish motoring.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. I mean, the proof is in, the proof of the pudding is in the eating of it, right? I think that's the saying. She did her stuff yesterday, which she was incapable of doing when I bought her. There was simply no way that was going to, she just, the amount of work I've done on this car, on this Greenbean, which is right here, the amount of work I did on this car, I have a hard time even quantifying. But, she did it. She ran yesterday. I kind of still feel like she's like an optical illusion. She appears to be a car, but there's so much that still needs doing to make her like better and more complete.
But she's going to get a plate.
She is going to get a plate. Going to get the, I passed all my stuff, and I came home yesterday and I was like, I passed the test. And then I realized I had to get back to the DMV right then and there, because if I didn't, I was going to get a $25 late fee. I had until midnight to get that done, and they closed in a few hours, and I went downtown, and I forgot even about that hurdle. I mean, all the hurdles this week, all the hurdles I've gotten through just to be able to make this happen, the force of will I was able to absolutely just push myself into executing to make this entire project happen. It's heartening. The nice thing is I guess I have determination that I got this far, but I'm just going to keep pushing. Next thing is the tonneau top. Well, there's a whole bunch of other like functional things, but I want to actually have some kind of a top on it so that I can deal with weather if need be. So that's probably the next thing, but it's not going to be anytime soon. I want to get a whole bunch of work jobs under my belt and that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's about it. Mm-hmm. That's it. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Oh, well, any case, the fact that they showed Gambit, like when in the 90s cartoon, when Gambit first appeared, I'm like, what? What is he wearing around his head?
Why is he throwing cards?
Why is he throwing playing cards? And the playing cards blow up for some reason. And it made Gambit never made any sense to me. And like the whole like weird Cajun riverboat gambling thing, it was just such a cobble of characteristics together, and it made no sense to me. And then you fast forward, all this time, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching Gambit on the screen doing the thing where he charges up an entire deck of playing cards and just starts just wailing on people. It was, that's the joy of the 90s cartoon, is you get to appreciate it.
Yeah, but then you have stuff that comes out of freaking nowhere, like Rogue is actually the sort of child of Mystique, sort of like adopted, and then she like absorbs everybody's powers, and it's like you'd have to try to.
She's like a Superman.
Yeah, and well, that Rogue, not the movie Rogue, is really cool. You'd have to like have a whole movie explaining.
Yeah, because there's just so much. Because there's so much weird explanatory backstory that you'd need to explain Rogue the way the Rogue classic, Rogue is supposed to be. There's so much there. We appreciated the movie because it had so much of that in it. I think the story is good enough for people who aren't really, into the whole X-Men thing to follow. I don't know that they'll be like, oh my god, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, Jennifer Garner, if you don't know what the deal is, then doesn't make sense. Wesley Snipes, I think most people know Blade, so that makes sense. But I'm sure a lot of people didn't really know who Gambit was.
I'm sure they didn't either. They were probably had the same reaction I was. Who is this guy and why is he throwing playing cards? All right, well let's hit some questions.
Oh, sorry.
I don't care.
Oh wait, this was going at the end.
Oh yeah.
So
we're gonna cut this and put this at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway,